What's going on, paranormal world? So I seen some sad but very interesting articles in regarding to the Annabelle doll, and I've done plenty of videos discussing the Annabelle doll and discussing the current owner of the Annabelle doll, Tony Sparrow. And those videos are more like rants, but that's neither here or there. But check those videos out for my perspective about the history and the hoax of this Annabelle doll. So, a paranormal investigator named Dan Rivera passed away. My condolences to his family and friends during this time, but I will say it's sad because social media is tying his legacy and his death to this Annabelle doll, and that's not fair to his family or friends. And let me say this, there's no proof that the Annabelle doll did this to him. So we don't know his medical history. We don't know whether he was stressed, he was traveling a lot. And of course, Dan Rivera was one of the investigators, taking the Annabelle doll across the United States, on tours. So, it's been a lot of traveling, a lot of stress. So everything could have contributed to whatever happened to him. However, I do find it kind of disturbing that these big time publications are suggesting that the Annabelle doll has something to do with it, and it's coming across as factual. And it almost reminds me of the story that the Warrens and Tony Sparrow have told about the guy at the Haunted Museum taunting the Annabelle doll and shortly after dying in a motorcycle accident. And the Warrens and Tony Sparrow have often correlated the taunting which influenced that accident. And to be honest, we don't even know if this person ever existed, because to add to that, there's no news articles about this, no obituaries to match the Warrens' claims, and even the ages in the obituaries didn't match the timeline which what they were explaining. But I do want to say this, and I will admit, the Annabelle doll is creepy looking. And I definitely don't want to find out if it's real or fake. I don't want to be in its presence or anything. So, what do you all think? Do you think it's legit? Do you think it's an evil entity attached to this Annabelle doll? Leave a thumbs up if you think the Annabelle doll is haunted. And comment down below if you think the Annabelle doll is a hoax or fake or whatever. But honestly, I personally think that the whole Annabelle doll being on tour was a quick money grab. First, it was the Annabelle doll on display at a casino a few years back. And then, more recently, they had an event promoting alcohol, and they had like 666 cases stored in the room with the Annabelle doll. And now it's 2025, and the Annabelle doll is headlining an entire paranormal tour. And a side note, why are you playing around with evil like that? Promoting 666 cases of alcohol, trying to come off as righteous? I don't know. It just doesn't sit right. And I'm referring to Tony Sparrow because he's the owner of the Annabelle doll, and he's very protective of the Annabelle doll, because we seen that with him and Zach Bagans falling out about that Ghost Adventure special back in 2017. And furthermore, Ed and Lorraine Warren even told Tony Sparrow that the doll should never be removed. Well, years later, the Annabelle doll has been traveling like crazy. And Tony Sparrow and Dan Rivera, they even have a video of the extensive process removing the doll to one case to a new case. Which I've always thought that, it was theatrical, trying to sell the story even more about this Annabelle doll. And later on, I've had my thoughts on why in the world would Tony Sparrow fly the Annabelle doll out from Connecticut to Las Vegas for a Ghost Adventure show? If the doll is so powerful and legit, why would you put it on a plane? And keep in mind, if you ever watch the Annabelle doll being transferred, they have these big utility gloves, and they have holy oil, and they have a priest right beside them. Now, here's my question to you all, and I've asked this in a previous video as well. When Tony Sparrow had to go through TSA when going to the airport, now these people have to extensively, check items and everything. So, did they put on the big gloves? Did they have the holy oil? Was the priest there? You get what I'm saying? And I doubt that they did all of that. So, I'm just saying, man, you just have to think these things out when thinking about, the paranormal and certain stuff. Now, with the Tony Sparrow propaganda about the Annabelle doll and how dangerous it is, not only being locked up, but especially being out of the case, why would you put a haunted doll on a plane with innocent individuals? Wouldn't that be a big risk? Not only that, but during the time that he went to see Zach Bagans and Ghost Adventures, Zach Bagans actually touched the doll and I think he tugged it a little bit. And Zach, he seems to be doing well. So I'm just saying, if the doll is dangerous, why take it on a world tour and spread that evil into the world and to other people? And there's no telling how many people that, they came in contact with. But I'm looking at it from a perspective that everybody think this Annabelle doll is real. And when I say it's a lot of people that think that Dan Rivera's death and passing was related to the Annabelle doll, it's a lot of people who really think that is true. Now, that's not even the huge part, but everyone is in the comment section saying that, hey, in New Orleans when Annabelle was down there, they had that plantation catch on fire and those prisoners escaped. And then in Texas, they said that the Annabelle doll was there, and a few weeks later, the floods hit. And I'm like, really, people? Let's be logical for once. And also, after, looking up the death of Dan, a lot of people are saying, soon as the Annabelle doll touched down in Pennsylvania, because I think that's where it happened at or whatever, they say that the 911 system was completely shut off and a lot of people was in panic mode. And everyone in the comment section was talking about how that was because Annabelle has arrived. And I'm like, really? I don't know, man. So what do you all think? I really want to hear all perspectives. Maybe y'all can convince me that the Annabelle doll is real. Give me some clues or whatever. But honestly, I don't think this had nothing to do with Dan Rivera's death. And yeah, man, condolences to his family and friends. And just let me know down in the comment section below about all of this, what's been going on recently. And yeah, if you love anything paranormal, anything horror movie related, then make sure you check out my channel, check out my previous videos, especially about the Annabelle doll. And if you like that type of content, then make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can see every time I upload. As always, be safe, peace.